Hey everyone, it's the Unlikely Prepper here, and I am answering a question that was in my comment section. Kightravin asked me if you can make your own lye. And the answer is, of course you can, because how would they have made it hundreds of years ago? So, I am going to post a link to a site that gives advice on how to do it. It's fairly simple. All you need is rainwater, distilled water, anything that has not come from a well, a tap, lakes, anything like that. It has to be purified water. And then from there, you just have to have hard woods. So we're talking like fruit woods, oak, anything that's not like evergreens will work. Make sure it is definitely a hardwood, and you are going to want to go ahead and burn that hardwood down to ash. And then from there you can go ahead and either in a bucket or a barrel or of your choice. There's been quite a few different people who have done it, and I actually like the idea of doing a barrel with some rock in it and then putting the ash in and putting a tap I'd say probably about a couple of inches higher than where the ash is going to finish. And from there, you go ahead and you pour the water onto that ash and then let it sit. Some are saying upwards of 3 days. I would say let it sit at least 2. And then from there, you go ahead and you open the tap up and leach it out and let it all come out. Replace the ash and do the process again. Now if you take that same lye solution that you've just taken out and use that as the water that you're putting on the fresh ash and do the process a second time, it will make that lye even stronger. To test and see if that lye is strong enough, from there you go ahead and either dip a chicken feather in and it will dissolve if it is strong, or the more decisive way is to take an uncooked, unshelled egg and put it into the lye solution. If it floats and only about a quarter size amount of it is out, it's generally just right. If it doesn't float, or it floats too high, if it floats too high, the lye solution is too strong, and if it does not float, the lye solution is too weak. Now there are a couple of options from there. You can either go ahead and leach it again, or you can attempt to boil it off. The evaporation that happens will be the water, and the lye will be left behind. From there, you have to be careful, though, because whatever you boiled it in, you can never use for creating food or doing anything else. You have to make sure you have a dedicated pan for it. But you can make lye on your own. That's how they did it for thousands of years, because soap's been around since, I think it was 1000 BC, if I remember my dates correctly. So, very much so, lye is something that we can create. It's very much man-made these days, not so much in the sense that they have a way of chemically creating it. I do want to note that I have mentioned that there is a difference between sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. What we buy in store is sodium hydroxide. However, when you create this, it will be potassium hydroxide. Will it work on making hard soaps? Yes, it will. I don't know well how this potassium hydroxide, which will still be in liquid form, so essentially this is your lye water, pre-made and devoid of everything else, that I don't know how well that works for liquid, but it's worth testing. At some point, I do hope to try it. I have to figure out how I'm going to come up with getting the ash burnt and what container to put it in and things like that. It might be something I test out at my brother's house, because he has an open pit. So I do plan on figuring out how to go about that. I suspect that video will come along probably in the spring. But so this is your answer. Kightravin, yes, lye is man-made, but also something that we can create that's not from a factory. Actually, in ancient days, what they used to do was they would set a stump on fire and pour water over the stump and collect the water that was around the edges. Or they would go ahead and then put animal fats around the outside of the stump, and when the two collected, it would create soap. From there, they would rub their clothes against what essentially was soap on the ground, and then bring it to the rivers and they would clean it. There's also talk that years ago they used to, there was a river, and they found that after animal sacrifices that their banks were perfect for cleaning their clothing, because the animal fats and the burnt sacrifice remains of the animals mingled together and created soap over the rocks. So this is very much something that's been done for thousands of years, and we can continue to do after there are no longer chemical factories that are doing this for it. I will do another video that will better explain where I get my lye from, currently pre-bottled, pre-made lye granules, and where I get some of my other materials. And I will hope that until, I mean, most definitely I'd like all of us to try out and see how making lye on our own goes, but until you no longer have the option, try to use chemical grade lye because of the quality that you're going to get from it. I would hate to see somebody make soap that's too lye heavy because it's not properly testable. I mean, you can float an egg and it can float at the right level, but it could just be a hair too heavy, or it could be a hair too light. There's no way to really decisively test that, so I would rather see you use granule lye, measure it out, and then use that until you no longer have that option. But that's my answer to you. Alright? If anybody else has any other questions about the soap making process, go ahead and you know what to do. Reply down below and let me know what you need to know so that I can help you.